Okay, welcome to another video from Exploring Modular Synths. In this video, I'm just going to explain a recent song that I recorded. And I'm just going to quickly run through the patch. So if you haven't watched that video, you might want to check that out first to check out the piece. And then I'm going to explain the different elements of the piece here and how I did the patch. So we're going to maybe work backwards a little bit because I just recorded the song and so it's still on the final moments of the song. So I'm going to turn up the audio here. So what we're hearing now is mainly generated by clouds, which is a granular effects module. It's here. Usually it doesn't have a black faceplate, but the one I got has a black one, which is pretty cool looking. What Clouds does is it takes input and it processes it and then spits out grains, little bits of the recording that it's taking in at times. So that's what you're hearing. The blend is almost all the way up. So what that means is you don't really hear the input going into clouds, you just hear the output, which is bits of clouds being fed back out. In terms of what the input is, if we turn the blend all the way down, you're going to hear the input, and that's being generated by pressure points, which is sending out CV to control two oscillators, which are the two Wiard Anti-oscillators, different pitch values here. That allows us to play chords. Those are the different chords. So when we input those into clouds, but turn the blend all the way up, we only hear the effect. So we don't hear any input, but then we hear the effect coming out from clouds. Also have the pitch in clouds slightly turned down. So you're not actually going to hear the exact pitch, but you're going to hear a slightly detuned version of that pitch. But you can keep it in the same key so that it sounds nice. If we put the blend halfway, you'll be able to hear both the input and the output from clouds. And one of the things that we also had coming into clouds was some other things. This is actually a sequence that's being played. A clock is running to the Erica sequential step. And you can see those lights going down, and it's turning the Erica sequential step into basically an 8-step sequencer. The clock's coming out from Pamela's output. And various steps of the Erica have outputs of the Dixie going into it, and also have outputs of the Intellijel Shapeshifter, which is in vocal mode. They are both being sequenced by the Rene. So we have a basic Rene sequence going on that is then controlling both the Dixie and the Shapeshifter. Okay, so there's the basic sequence. That's a basic sequence that's coming. It's being clocked by Pamela's workout, going to the Rene, going into the Dixie. And it sounds like that. That was the basic part of the middle part of the piece. But that same CV out is going out from the Rene into the Shapeshifter. And then both the Dixie and the Shapeshifter's vocal outputs are going into the Erica Synths sequential switch, which is running through 8 steps, so it's picking up little bits of that as it goes along, and that's this sequence. If we put those two together, it sounds like this. Now, one output of the pressure points is also sending CV into the Dixie's frequency modulation input, the FM output, and that's transposing the whole sequence up. That transposes it up an octave. Now, since the 16-step sequence can sound a bit repetitive, 16 steps here, 8 steps that are going through the 2 different 16-step sequences coming in on the sequential switch, the Erica sequential switch. What I've done is I've deactivated one of the steps of the Rene so that you actually have 15 steps, so that it doesn't sound quite as repetitive. There's also a clock, actually, that's going into the 4MS Spectral Multiband Resonator, and there's also a trigger output. One of the gates of pressure points is going into that also, so when we hit the pressure points, the combined trigger out is going into the 4MS, and it's triggering the chords in the Spectral Multiband Resonator. But there's also a slow LFO going into the resonator that is very slowly advancing it, so that the resonator is actually also playing by itself. So the last thing that we've got going on, or one of the last things, is we've got some percussion. We've got some drums coming in. And what we have there is that the Pamela workout is in Euclidean mode, and it's got different outputs that are coming into 3 inputs of a Ladik Twin Drum module. And it's going into the kick drum and some of the other drum effects there. And that's playing out. So that's giving us some interesting percussion. And then we have some hi-hats that are being generated by one of the Moog Mother 32s. And the hi-hat's basically just using the noise from the Moog Mother 32, the noise generator, with tempo information coming in from Pamela's workout, and then a short attack, short delay to create that sound. And now I think the very last thing we have is that CV from the Rene is also going to the Braids oscillator. And Braids has a lot of different sounds in it. It's a digital oscillator. So that's that same sequence. If we put it together with the Dixie, for example. So let's put that all and then lastly, there was just some fun with the Echophon, basically freezing little bits of audio in it, kind of detuning them, doing some DJ stuff, putting the mix all the way up so that you only hear that weird stuff going on and you lose that main beat and sequence, and then quickly turning the mix all the way back from wet to dry so that the main beat comes back in. So if we just quickly put all that together, it sounds like this.